Good afternoon, YouTube. This is the WWE Review, guys. I'm Scott. This is Chris. We're going to do kind of a recap. Armageddon happened. If you saw our recap of our predictions of Armageddon, it basically happened as we thought it would happen, or as he thought it would happen. He was really better than I was at guessing.
He was pretty good.
I mean, anyway. So look back at that. The only big surprise was the Jeff Hardy thing, and I think that'll probably come up at the end of our little talk about this. But instead, we're going to go straight to talk about Raw, kind of a Raw wrap-up.
This is Monday Night Raw from December 17th.
Which was last night. All right. The main topics that we're going to talk about, the main points of interest. Number one is the big McMahon breakdown. That was the first thing that happened in the show. Jeff Hardy came out and kind of was a jerk to Mr. McMahon.
Which I liked, by the way.
But it was a kind of a jerky move that was honest. It was kind of honest jerky. And telling, nobody gives a damn about you because you don't care about anybody else. So he sits down in the corner and has his little nervous breakdown, which I thought it didn't really bother me. I thought it was kind of fun because it didn't pay off as the episode went on as I hoped it would. But, it's always fun to... to see Triple H interact with Mr. McMahon, and so I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was a pretty fun.
It was an interesting
moment.
It was an interesting sketch. I don't know if I'd say it was great. We've seen one McMahon meltdown already this year. That was over the summer, and that one didn't pan out very well. But that was due to unforeseen circumstances, which we won't get into. But I mean, it was good. It was nice that it involves Triple H. It's a way to kind of prep Triple H for a Royal Rumble run, and
it involved Jeff.
It did involve Jeff. That was interesting. That's not something that I saw coming, but it was nice.
He usually doesn't get to talk.
It was nice to see Jeff on a mic. Maybe they're giving him some sort of a push on the mic. That'll be kind of interesting. The only gripe was it ran a little bit too long. It was about 20 minutes of the show. It was the first 20 minutes of the show, which is usually the focal point of the whole 2-hour show. And it just ran a little bit too long. It was nice that Triple H came out and tried to elaborate on it a little bit, but for the most part it was just McMahon sitting in a corner.
Right, but then it led up to the interesting pairing of Flair and Triple H next week. A couple of things that set up,
which should be interesting. Speaking of Flair, we're going to next talk about Flair's little rant on the microphone, as I'm liking to refer to it. I don't want to offend anyone out there, but I'm going to go ahead and say that I think Flair should just retire. Watching this segment last night was really uncomfortable. For lack of a better word, Flair, to me, just looked drunk. I mean, he was sort of rambling, he was screaming, he just didn't look well. And, it's time for him to retire. I love Ric Flair. I have a lot of respect for him. But he's getting old. It's time for him to just kind of step aside and let someone else have their moment in the sun. And it's really sad the way they're doing it. They're putting Flair in all these matches that are just kind of an excuse for guys to basically beat the crap out of Ric Flair and him find some way to win at the end. And pairing him up against Umaga last night was kind of odd. And especially since Umaga is still, for some reason, being billed as this unstoppable machine. But the reality is that Umaga hasn't won a match in about 6 months. I mean, they label him as the Samoan bulldozer. He comes out and he beats his chest and does all this weird, stupid stuff, for lack of a better word.
He yells something, probably in another language.
He yells like something.
Which is exotic and interesting to me. Not really.
Anyway, it's just sad that, he's still billed as this unstoppable heel and he just continues to lose. They really needed to do something to revamp his character.
Okay, getting back to Flair for a moment. I would kind of agree that his time has kind of expired, but I thought we were seeing greatness as early as this summer when he I guess first came to SmackDown. I thought he was doing some good stuff there. I don't know why they kind of dropped the ball and let him just become the whipping post.
Yeah,
but I think it's good that I like the storyline. Lose a match and you're fired. But I think they needed to have a little tighter rein on it. I think part of the reason he looked so out of control Monday when he did his speech was that they just didn't have a good enough idea of what they wanted him to say, so they just let him go. and he's getting older. He doesn't have the skills that he used to have, or whatever. That's why he looked so out of it. But I like, I respect him a lot, but I would agree it's his time to probably
step aside,
hang up the feathery robe.
Feathery robe, yeah. Give it to Morrison.
I'll take it. I'll take the feathery robe. I've already got a couple.
Yeah.
But I could always do another.
Anyway.
Okay, next the next big thing that happened was the whole JBL return, quote unquote, when he came in and he disrupted the match and stopped Jericho from getting the belt, winning against Orton Sunday night. And so Jericho comes out and does his little, tells JBL to come out here, face me, and JBL shows up via satellite, which probably meant from a camera backstage.
More than likely.
And so they had their little tiff. And what did you think?
How do I put this delicately? I hate JBL, to put it simply. He was much more entertaining as a member of the Acolytes. Him by himself is just kind of stupid. It was weird when it happened. And he's just boring, He's got great mic skills. I've got to give the man credit for that. And it was interesting, seeing him and Jericho go at it against each other last night. That was cool, but just knowing that he's going to be back in the ring and on Raw, where I don't think he's needed, is just kind of sad. He's boring in the ring. I mean, the moment I hear his entrance music, I'm ready to just go to sleep because it's just dull. And just pairing him up with Jericho is just kind of stupid. I mean, they were complaining about Jericho being kind of dull when he comes back, and now you're going to put him in a feud with JBL?
But I would say, and being fairly new to wrestling, I've never seen JBL in action, in the ring. And he's growing on me. I didn't like him so much as the announcer, but I'm liking him more now. But where was I going to go with this? Oh, yes. I'm liking him more, but I think what he really did that was good was he kind of gave Jericho something really good to do last night. I thought Jericho was really great standing up to him, and that whole interaction, made his return worthwhile.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. I'm not gonna kind of just dismiss it right now. It'll be interesting to see exactly what happens. The last thing we're gonna talk about is the main event. That was Shawn Michaels and Jeff Hardy versus Mr. Kennedy and Randy Orton. This whole your thumbs down?
Yeah.
This whole push that they're doing for Jeff Hardy is really great. It's really nice to see him finally getting a little bit of respect. He's been with the company for a long time. It's nice to see that they're really giving him a big push. It was pretty obvious last night that he would get the win over Randy Orton. That's usually how new feuds are started. The contender gets a win over the champion. The whole Shawn Michaels-Kennedy feud, I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. I don't know if this is going to continue. I'm kind of surprised that Bobby Lashley's not back yet. I figured he'd be back last night. So I don't know exactly where that's going, but it was nice to see, Jeff get a win over the champ, Randy Orton.
I would agree.
Okay. Well, folks, there you have it.
Time is running short. So
time is running short. I am going to give this show a final rating of 3 out of 5 stars. It was a decent show. It was a quick show. It went over. The 2 hours went over fairly quickly, and they could have done a little bit more than they did with it. It's obviously they're kind of slowing things down so they can build up to the Rumble. So yeah, I give it 3 out of 5.
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 because while I felt that there were areas they could improve, I thought it was a nice show. That it was a good, entertaining.
Okay.
Right, maybe more than normal.
3 out of 5 and 4 out of 5. Well, that's an average of 3.5 out of 5. So there you have it, folks. That is it for tonight. You can email us at wwereviewguys@yahoo.com or respond to any of our videos. We'd love to hear from you guys. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Check back with us later in the week when we give you our SmackDown review.
Yes, and ECW. I'll probably do that along with
ECW review.
So
peace.
Good night.